Put it right there.
Good morning. Welcome to the Sunday morning service at the Unitarian Universalist Church. My name is Linda Clark, and I'm a member of the board. Unitarian Universalism is a faith tradition committed to creating a just and flourishing world for all people. Our Universalist theology tells us that every person is worthy of love. Thus, when we say, whoever you are, wherever you are on life's journey, you are welcome here. This is our message of love to you, inviting your whole self into this space to help us co-create a world centered on our values. We invite you to learn more about us and consider this community to enact our values of equity, justice, transformation, pluralism, interdependence, and generosity. An announcement today, Tina would like to get the Christmas decorations down, and any of you that are willing and able, if you'd stay afterwards, she has a lot of boxes. If there are enough people, the job will be very small, and she'll tell you exactly what to take down. So if you have time, please consider stopping. Now, if you are online, I invite you to greet each other through the chat, and if you are present here, I invite you to turn to someone you did not come with a wave and a smile.
Verily, with hardship comes ease. From the Quran, Surah 94, 5 through 6. Lighting this chalice may feel difficult today. This symbol of justice, known to be a light of hope for the marginalized, a message of sanctuary for the oppressed, a flame that feels lost or diminished somehow. How do we rekindle this fire of compassion? How do we rekindle this fire of mercy? A famous verse within the Quran tells us that with hardship comes ease. With hardship comes ease. We welcome the ease, O God of justice. We welcome the ease, O Spirit of love. We welcome the ease and rekindle this flame from our tears, our quiet suffering, from our collective prayers for those who cry for freedom. We welcome the ease and rekindle this flame on behalf of those who feel abandoned and betrayed. We welcome the ease and rekindle this flame for all of the children who ask, why can we not live in peace as other children do? We light this chalice today, no matter how difficult it may feel. Help us to rekindle compassion and mercy within the deep crevices of our hearts so that we can, once again, bring justice and hope to a world struggling to find its humanity, struggling to find its soul. Today marks the 4th day of Hanukkah. Hanukkah is an 8-day Jewish holiday also known as the Festival of Lights. In the 2nd century BCE, the rulers of the Holy Land tried to force the people of Israel to accept Greek culture and beliefs instead of the Jewish faith and practices. A band of Jews, led by Judah the Maccabee, drove the Greeks from the land, and the Holy Temple was rededicated to the service of God. When they went to light the temple's menorah, only a single container of olive oil was found. They lit the menorah, and the 1-day supply of oil lasted for 8 days, until new oil could be prepared under conditions of ritual purity. To commemorate and publicize these miracles, the sages instituted the festival of Hanukkah. Candles are lit each night, and a blessing is recited. This morning, we will light the first 4 candles. Blessed are you, Lord our God, King of the universe, who has sanctified us with his commandments and commanded us to kindle the Hanukkah light. Blessed are you, Lord our God, King of the universe, who performed miracles for our forefathers in those days at this time.
Good morning. Good morning. This past year has been a journey filled with both joy and sorrow, with moments of soaring hope and deep despair. As we step into this new year, let us hold on to the comforting truth that we have our community to support us. Let the words of activist Loretta Williams resonate within us. We, bearers of the dream, affirm that a new vision of hope is emerging. We pledge to work for that community in which justice will be actively present. We affirm that there is struggle yet ahead. Yet we know that in the struggle there is hope for the future. We affirm that we are co-creators of the future, not passive pawns. And we stand united in affirmation of our hope and a vision of a just and inclusive society. We affirm the unity of all persons. We affirm brotherhood and sisterhood that allows us to touch upon each other's humanity. We affirm a unity that opens our eyes, ears, and hearts to see the different but common forms of oppression, suffering, and pain. Yet we are one in the image of God, and we celebrate our hopes for human unity. Within ourselves and within the gathered community, we will discover the strength not to hide in indifference. Affirming that hope, publicly expressed, energizes and enables us to move forward. Together we pledge action to transcend barriers, be they racial, political, economic, social, or religious. We pledge to make our tomorrows become our todays. May Loretta Williams' words guide us as we face the challenges and embrace the opportunities of the year ahead. Please join me in our church's mission statement. We gather as an inclusive community to grow in character, mind, and spirit, and to transform the world toward fairness, love, and compassion.
As we reflect on this past year of 2024, we wish to commemorate those who have passed away, to remember how their lives have touched ours, to feel compassion for how deep yet how fragile are our human bonds. Our ritual this morning will be to name those for remembrance, followed by the chiming of the bowl, to bring our thoughts again to those who we will no longer see, but will remember. The first remembrance is for prominent people. There are so many gone this year, and we have chosen a few. Peter Higgs, physicist, actors Maggie Smith and James Earl Jones, athletes Willie Mays and Fernando Valenzuela, astronaut William Anders, Nobel laureate and author Alice Munro, activists Bernice Johnson Reagan and Lilly Ledbetter, and so many more. Also, these are a few of the species we will never see on Earth again due to the actions of humanity. The golden toad, due to climate change, the Pinta giant tortoise, due to overexploitation, the mountain mist frog, due to invasive fungus, the bridled white-eyed bird, due to habitat destruction, and the Hawaiian crow, due to overexploitation, invasive disease, and habitat destruction, as well as too many, many others. Blessed be these we hold in our heart memory. Our second remembrance is for those in our congregation who have passed away this year. Dorothy Stevens, Nancy Fleming, Janine Webbles, Ellie LaFountain, and Mary Helen Kovacs, who grew up in our congregation. Blessed be these we hold in our heart memory. Our third remembrance is for your friends and family and people important to you. Please call out these names that we all might hear and know them. Blessed be these we hold in our heart memory. Our fourth remembrance will be for the multitude of people unknown to us, but known in their human circumstance of dying in natural disasters, political upheavals, wars, individual acts of violence, and self-harm. Blessed be these we hold in our heart memory. And now please rise in body and in spirit and join us in singing hymn number 1011, Return Again, in the Teal hymnal. Our next reading is by Vanessa Titang. We do not choose when tragedy occurs, nor where, nor what feelings are brought to the surface as we handle this challenge. In this heartbreak, what we carry forth is our humanity in newly revealed form, our hearts tender and delicate. Within this complex, hard time, may your heart be cradled in the balance to strengthen in resolve, and hold fast to the seeds of tenderness that allow for the experience of love. May you be comforted in being human, while knowing in its very essence, being human is exceedingly hard. Know that you are not alone. Let us heal and balance together. May you find solace here in the collective human experience and regeneration of affection. May community hold, tend, and comfort you in love. Blessed be. Amen.
From your seat, I invite you to join in singing hymn number 1002, Comfort Me. We'll pause between each verse as I share a common prayer. Feel free to close your eyes throughout if you know the song or if that feels right for you. O my soul, At times, the challenges I face are too much illness, too much struggle, too much conflict between family and neighbors, too much suffering in the world, on our screens and out of sight, but we know it is happening, and what shall we do? Can I bear the weight of it all? It is hard to be a human, especially a soft-hearted human. Spirit of love, will you comfort me? Together we sing. Comfort me, comfort me, comfort me, oh my soul. Comfort Oh, my soul, at times I feel alone, isolated, even if there are people around me. It can be hard to share my inner world with others or to let them help me. But when we sing together, I feel others' presence, and I know that together we have enough caring to go around for everyone, including me. Gathered community, will you sing with me? Sing with me. Sing with me. Sing with me, oh my soul. Sing with me. Sing with me. Sing with me, oh my soul. Oh, my soul, sometimes I am just weary. When it's hard to get out of bed in the dark morning, hard to face difficult tasks, hard to lift my foot or open my heart, I know I may need rest and fortitude. I may need to refill the well within me. Rest is a gift that I will try to allow myself to have when I need it. My needs are important, and I deserve rest. Oh, my soul, you can rest. Rest with me. Rest with me. Rest with me, oh my soul. Rest with me. Rest with me. Rest with me, oh my soul. When I have been nourished with song, I grow stronger. When I have felt the presence of caring community around me, I feel more able to use my own power. When I have given my body and spirit the rest they need, I am renewed. And yes, my soul, when the light grows day by day, like a green growing thing, I am ready to rise. In power and beauty, I return to the world and bring to it my love and my joy. Rise with me. Rise with me. Rise with me, oh
This religious community exists by its mission as a fire exists by burning. It is the giving of time, energy, imagination, vision, creativity, compassion, love, and financial support by the members and friends of this community that fuels our mission to nurture and sustain a welcoming, inclusive, and diverse liberal religious community that transforms lives and serves the world. Giving is also how we live our values in the world. Each month, we share our offerings with an organization nominated by the congregation and selected by the special offerings team. During December, the special offering will benefit NAMI DuPage, nominated by Susan Gowdy. The mission of NAMI DuPage is to provide support, advocacy, and education in order to improve the quality of life of individuals with mental illness and their families. The morning's offering to support the work of DuPage Unitarian Universalist Church and NAMI DuPage is given and received in a spirit of generosity and gratitude.
The new year calls us forward, filled with challenge. As we turn toward that new year, we take a final glimpse of the past year and reckon with all it held for us. You have a piece of paper in your order of service, and please raise your hand if you need something to write with. Take that piece of paper and reflect on the year behind you. Consider what you might leave behind today to have it burn brightly and transform into ash and air. What part of our lives, what things, ideas, people, ways of living have become obstacles to our becoming the people we want to be, the people we need to be? What's holding you back? What's getting in the way of you living as fully as you'd like to? What might you burn away? What will you relinquish to make your life better in the coming year? What can you release to bring you ease or energy? Write a word or two on the paper. No one will see it except you, the flame, and the universe. For the next few minutes, the music will invite you forward so that you can put your paper into the cauldron. After our service is complete, you are invited to accompany us when we take the cauldron outside and burn these obstacles, grievances, anger, and losses. They will be removed from our lives, allowing us to move into the new year renewed, lightened, and freed. I now invite you to come forward and let go of what you do not need for the new year. Many years ago, there was a village in a mountain valley in the land of Transylvania. The people in the village were Unitarians, and they wanted a church of their own. A church set on the hillside, they decided, looking down upon the village as a mother looks down upon her sleeping child.
So all the people of the village labored long and hard to build themselves a church. The stonemasons chiseled, the glaziers made tiny glass panes, the carpenters carved a pair of wide-opening doors, the weavers wove a fine altar cloth, and the smiths hammered black iron into tall lampstands.
Finally, the painters mixed bright colors, royal red and shimmering gold and brilliant blue, and everyone in the village came to decorate their church. They painted flowers, they painted trees, they painted designs around the windows and different designs around the doors.
When their church was finally done, all the people of the village stood back to admire it, and then to sing a song of happiness and praise. Their village had a church now, a church set on a hillside, looking down upon the village as a mother looks down upon her sleeping child.
Then they went down the hillside to their homes and their suppers, all except one little girl named Zora and her father, who stayed behind. They had brought their own bread and cheese, and after they had eaten, they went back inside, opening those carved wooden doors to go into the gloriously painted sanctuary inside.
"Oh, look, Father!" Zora cried, running from picture to picture with her footsteps echoing off the stone walls. "See how pretty the church is!"
"Yes, it is," said her father, looking around and nodding with pride.
"But Father," she said suddenly, "there are lampstands all along the walls, but no lamps. The church will be dark when the people get back."
"Ah, no, little one. The light of the church comes from its people. You shall see."
And they waited on the grassy hillside next to their beautiful church of strong gray stone. The sun had set behind the mountains and night was coming soon. Yet in the growing darkness, tiny points of light came from many directions and moved steadily up the hill.
"Each family is entrusted with a lamp," Zora's father explained. The many lights moved closer together, growing larger and brighter all the time. Zora's mother arrived, bearing a burning oil lamp in her hands. The father lifted Zora so she could set their family's lamp high on its tall iron stand. All around the church, other families were doing the same. Soon the church was ablaze with light in every corner.
All through the worship service, Zora watched the lights flicker and glow. She watched her family's lamp most of all. When the service was over, they carried the lamp home with the flame lighting the way.
The lamp flame lit their house when they returned home, as Zora got ready for bed.
"Mother," Zora began as she climbed into bed and lay down.
"Yes, little one?" her mother asked, tucking the red wool blanket around Zora's shoulders.
"Father said the light of the church comes from its people,
"Yes."
but also the people take their light from the church." Over on the table by the fireplace, the shiny bronze lamp was still burning. "And we have that light every day."
"Yes, indeed. And even when we are not in church, even when the lamp is not lit, we carry the light of truth in our minds and the flame of love in our hearts to show us the right way to be. That light, the light from truth and love, will never go out.
Never?
Never. And this bronze lamp will last for many, many years. When you are grown, we will give the bronze lamp to you. And when your children are grown, you will give the lamp to them, and all of you will carry it back and forth to church every time.
But there is only one lamp.
So make another, and let the light grow. And someday, tell your children to make more lamps too. And now, good night." Her mother said, and kissed Zora once on this cheek, and once on that cheek, and once on the forehead. Zora closed her eyes and drifted into dreams while her mother looked down on her sleeping child.
The years passed and Zora grew. The bronze lamp came into her care. She kept it polished and clean, and when the bell rang out across the valley to call the people to worship, she carried the lamp back and forth to the church on the hillside, the flame always lighting her way. When the time came, she made more lamps and gave them to her children, who made more lamps and gave them to their children. And so it went on through the years, even until today.
And always, the light of truth and the flame of love from that Unitarian church on the hillside continued to grow and show them and us the way.
A Lamp in Every Corner is one of the first books that I bought as a newly minted Unitarian Universalist. And Zora's story continues to inspire me 16 years later. Its reminder that a church gets its light from the people has returned to me again and again as I made coffee, raised money for the church, and taught RE. But when I reread the story, intending to include it in this service, I realized that I had forgotten half of the story's message. For we not only give our light to the church, we also receive from it. In comfort, in challenge, in learning from others who think differently and who have different experiences than ours. And it's particularly important that we do so now, as we begin a new year full of uncertainty, and for some of us, real and well-founded fear. Let us remember that there are great wisdom and strength all around us, and we can and must receive light from others' lamps. In particular, we can learn from the wisdom and strength in communities that have survived catastrophic, even apocalyptic oppression, which many of us fear could happen again in the coming months and years. Communities across our country, from history professors who specialize in the rise of fascism, to Black and Indigenous communities that have survived government attempts at genocide, to Latinx communities and queer communities, and many others are all sounding the call to speak our values loud and clear in the public square, to use our resources to support one another in difficult times. My winter reading has focused on two books whose wisdom has given me hope in these difficult times. The first is by Timothy Snyder, who is the Levin Professor of History at Yale University. He's a scholar of Eastern and Central Europe, and the Soviet Union and the Holocaust. So he's an expert in the rise of fascism. He writes in his book, On Tyranny, Americans today are no wiser than the Europeans who saw democracy yield to fascism, Nazism, or communism in the 20th century. Our one advantage is that we might learn from their experience, and now is a good time to do so. Note that his book was published in 2017, so his now was 7 years ago. He goes on to deliver 20 lessons from the 20th century, ranging from defend institutions to practice corporeal politics. Power wants your body softening in your chair and your emotions dissipating on the screen. Get outside. Put your body in unfamiliar places with unfamiliar people. Make new friends and march with them. He chillingly warns us 3 years before January 6th, 2020, when the men with guns who have always claimed to be against the system start wearing uniforms and marching with torches and pictures of a leader, the end is nigh. But he also reminds us, do not obey in advance, because most of the power of authoritarianism is freely given. We have more choices and opportunities, my friends, than some political leaders would like us to realize. Snyder's book is a warning of how a stable order can fall and how significant our actions can be in preventing it. The second book I have been reading is an examination of how we might learn from people who have survived worse, not only the collapse of governmental and religious institutions, but active genocide. Stephen Charleston, a Choctaw elder and retired Episcopal bishop, wrote the book, We Survived the End of the World: Lessons from Native America on Apocalypse and Hope. His ancestors survived the Trail of Tears along with the Cherokee, Chickasaw, Creek, and Seminole tribes. And he wrote to answer the question, what did the American apocalypse reveal about my ancestors? What did it uncover about their survival? Where did their strength come from? In answering these prophets, he turns to the same, in answering these questions, he turns to the same prophets that Native Americans turned to as the apocalypse loomed over them, the prophets who saw it coming and guided their people through utter catastrophe into what Charleston calls liberating and hopeful survival. One such prophet is Tenskwatawa, brother of the famed warrior Tecumseh, and founder of the revolutionary city Prophetstown. Tenskwatawa, whose name means the open door, was born in 1775 in Old Piqua, a Shawnee village in what is currently called Western Ohio. He received a prophetic vision of Native Americans of all tribes coming together to create a paradise-like future, free from the predation and greed of white colonizers. This vision of Native Americans of all tribes coexisting in peace was unprecedented and inspiring, and in the early 1800s, he established a city that welcomed all Native Americans, called Prophetstown, near Lafayette, Indiana. For several years, it united Native Americans across the continent and served as a bright spot of hope against the horror of genocide. American troops and white militias burned Prophetstown to the ground in 1811 under the command of Governor William Henry Harrison, who would one day be president, and the ravages of war and forced removal from their lands ended the dream of a physical Prophetstown. Yet the ideal lives on. One of the most enduring and universal apocalyptic visions is the sacred community, Charleston writes, describing Prophetstown as a lighthouse. Like Jerusalem, Mecca, and Shangri-La, the city on the hill keeps hope alive. It inspires us to believe in a better tomorrow. It shows us the way to get there. The wisdom that Charleston gleans from his ancestors' struggle is surprisingly similar to some of Snyder's messages. Find, support, and defend diverse communities. Charleston writes, we will not overcome any apocalypse alone, but only in community. I think we all subconsciously understand that. What has caused us to stumble is the fear that we have forgotten how to live together in mutual respect and unity. All of us, wherever we live, can begin building our own version of Prophetstown, communities open to all, without exception, communities based on diversity and respect, communities believing enough together to begin seeing together. My friends, we must continue to light the lamps of truth and love. We must continue to build communities based on diversity and respect. We must continue to make friends, make new friends, and march with them. But how do I know that we can do all of this? Because we already have. And here is another story about Unitarian Universalists lighting lamps of truth and love. During World War II, the Unitarian Service Committee sent Reverend Waitstill Sharp and his wife Martha Sharp to Europe to distribute money and food and to help evacuate refugees. At great personal risk, they smuggled hundreds of people, both Jewish and non-Jewish, out of Nazi-controlled areas, including intellectuals, artists, writers, political leaders, and children. Thousands supported them through donations of food and money and volunteer work. And everyday people just like us gave their time, their energy, and their safety so that others might escape terrible danger. Our own Flaming Chalice was born from this effort. Hans Deutsch, a refugee artist from Austria, designed the chalice as an official seal for USC paperwork granting refugees safe passage through a military blockade. It eventually became the symbol of the Unitarian Service Committee and later the Unitarian Universalist Association as a whole. Once only a design on paper, it is now a physical object that we light at the beginning of each service. Each time we do so, we remember the courage and sacrifice of all those who work to light the lamp of truth and love. The USC, now the Unitarian Universalist Service Committee, the UUSC, continues to operate. Its work is unique in that they partner with organizations who are doing grassroots work around the world, and they do not place limitations on how these organizations use the money that they provide. In this way, the UUSC learns from the people they are working with, which improves their advocacy efforts. They work today with women-led cooperatives in Nicaragua, with Roma youth fighting prejudice and invasion in Ukraine, with indigenous tribes impacted by climate change in the Louisiana Bayou, and with many others. Our words and actions matter. They can and have and will continue to impact this world in the coming year. May we light the lamps. May we make new friends and march with them. May we build communities believing enough together to begin seeing together.
We now invite you to envision what you can bring into the coming year. What are your skills, talents? What might you learn or achieve? What might our society look like if we work together toward a better future for all? What can you do to make our world a better place for yourself, those dear to you, and those you have not yet met? To manifest these visions, we will share the energies of our passionate dreams for the upcoming year by passing the candle flame to one another. Feel our joined aspirations surround all of us as we are encircled by the flames of our commitment. When passing the flame, please bring the unlit candle to the lit candle to minimize dripping on the chairs and the floor. When a fire burns, it simultaneously destroys and creates. The material is consumed, it can never be reformed again from the ashes. The destruction is necessary to create light and heat, the energy and passion to do what must be done to transform our world together. The more fuel, the hotter the fire. The more of us working together, the more we can accomplish. Our conjoined energies will be a roaring fire, fueling our actions to create a better future. What will you commit to today? What will you find the courage to do? We are rising up like a phoenix from the fire. Brothers and sisters, spread your wings and fly. We are rising up like a phoenix from the fire. Brothers and sisters, spread your wings and fly. We are rising up. We are rising up. We are rising are rising up. We are rising up. We are rising up. I invite you to focus your mind on your intention, the passion, dream, or future that your candle symbolizes. We now extinguish these candles, but not their vitality. May the spirit they represent warm and light our journeys. May we walk together, our hearts lit by this inner flame. In the words of the pagan tradition, our circle is now open, yet unbroken. Please rise in body or spirit and join in singing hymn number 1028, The Fire of Commitment.
The words of Reverend Wayne Arneson, "Take courage, friends. The way is often hard, the path is never clear, and the stakes are very high. Take courage, for deep down there is another truth. You are not alone." When you entered the service today, you received a candle, a battery-operated candle. You've been wondering all service what it's for. These are our lamps for you to take home, to illuminate your rooms and guide you back to the love of our community whenever you need it. Let us turn them on now before we extinguish our chalice, so that the light of community will go with us, not only metaphorically, but physically, out of our sanctuary and into the days to come.
Please join me in our chalice extinguishing words. We extinguish the light of this chalice, but not the light in our hearts. Until we meet again, may the warmth of our community